So today we have another clan battles talk through. This time a game that recently took place between us and SCCC. That's a game we probably should have lost, but we managed to pull it out thanks to some clutch torps and secondaries. But without too many spoilers, we are doing our traditional opening here. So AP rockets do a pre-drop going to the off cap. Once again, what this is doing, besides scouting, is we're trying to keep them out of their safe home cap, which is for them is B, for as long as possible. Any kind of point advantage we can get early game might prove the difference late game. We also have our Holland and Stalingrad going to the offside to kite, and the rest of our ships going to contest A. We get a spot on 4 of their ships, and we're just kind of speed boosting away to get out of their AA. You see their Montanas coming B side, which isn't really typical. A lot of the meta has the battleship going strong side, so that's something we have to take into consideration. Once again, I'm just kind of doing a slow, lazy scout this way. The longer we're here, the more ships we're going to see, the longer we're going to keep them out of the B cap, and the more likelihood of the ships we aren't seeing going A. At this point, I know there's nothing here, so I'm just going to go and try to get some chip damage on the Montana, maybe slow them down a bit, and more importantly, see if the Holland is on top of the Montana, right? Because a lot of times teams will send the DD with their battleship, and if we know the Holland is with the Montana, we know he's not going to be contesting the contested cap. So coming out here with torps, I intentionally lock onto the fighters. I either know that my fighters are going to get them or they're going to lock onto me. I'm not worried because I go through the edge, and I tell Cowboy here in the Holland to go ahead like, hey, make the fighters go away. So what this does, hopefully my fighters are able to reset even though they locked on. They can continue providing some protection. At this point we see the Holland is in our cap. Our team is trying to radar him, reset him, which they do get some resets. And at this point, their entire team is spotted, so it's really up to me to go after the targets that I want to, depending on how separated they are. At this point, the Montana seems like he's the most separated, so that's who we're gonna go after. Granted, he's in a kiting position, he pops a fighter, so it's gonna be a little bit harder to take him out. Their Holland's still taking chip damage in A with the radars and the Venezia, and at that point I just say, hey, it's not worth it. I'm going to ignore the Montana, he has a fighter up, and I'm going to go try to get some scouts on A, maybe get a couple lucky torpedo hits on the Holland. Our Holland is going to contest the B cap. There's nothing down there, and it's only a matter of time before they get the A cap, unless we have some lucky strikes. The invisible fighters pot up. I pop up my fighters to both spot and hopefully take out their fighters, and I skirt the edge of their fighters to try to get a scout on this guy and potentially some torps. He's already speeding up. We're not going to get the torps on him, but the more important thing right now is scouting, right? That, and if he's worried about dodging our torps, he's not worried as much about dodging shells. We get some very good damage on the Holland. I come back in, he turns off his AA, and I drop the torps behind there. Right there, my priority is scouting and keeping him out of the cap. So he's out of the cap, we can worry about him another day. I haven't used my AP dive bombs yet, so might as well get those out, get some damage on somebody, and let them start regenerating. As I've said before, it's always good to cycle through different plane squadrons just so all of them can be regenerating at the same time. Our team gets a scout on the Holland today. He's still not going into the cap. He's taking some damage. But they do get torps on our Petro. Now we're playing down. What I'm also doing is I'm scouting B once again to see who's rotated back. This Petro has rotated back. So while we were going for the Montana, we're going to get a quick strike on this Petro. One Citadel, nothing amazing, but every little bit helps. You see the Goliath, he's taking torps, and so we're going to transition to him. I could have recalled here, but this Goliath is by himself, and it's also going to give us position on the Holland. And we get a pen and a Citadel. So right now, 5 minutes in, not a whole lot of damage, but we've done a lot of good scouting for the team. And our most important action thus far is keeping the Holland out of A, because if they get that cap, we're in trouble. Our Holland is capping B. He's getting reset with the radar, which doesn't help, but we are putting pressure to make them spread out and split up, especially now that we're playing a ship down. Points are very important. I'm coming back here with Torps. We're thinking the Holland is going back into A, and so I'm kind of going to where I can scout him. He kind of was going back into A, but he's low and he goes out. I'm trying to get another strike off on this guy. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of ships that can shoot him, but they try anyway, but they don't get any hits. You drop the Torps, we recall, to try to maximize the planes we get back. And if nothing else, dropping Torps behind the Holland like that makes them go in a straight line and hopefully easier for our team to hit them. Some games we get a lot of Torps on DDs, some games we don't. At this point we have the B cap, which is very important for points, but they go into it, and so we're going to go try to reset this guy and put pressure. Also notice they're pushing up the one line and putting a lot of pressure on our guys up there, so it's only a matter of time before A falls. You try to be sneaky and go through the islands here. We're able to get the drop down and get a sit with some more pens. Not crazy damage, but with the Petros you can get relatively reliable penetrations as well as a Citadel or two. And so once again, this is our focus. The Petro and the Montana are kind of separated. We could go maybe get some good hits on that Henri and Stalingrad out there, who Storm's pinging. The problem is, one, it takes a long time to get there. Two, I don't exactly know where that Holland is, and he might surprise my planes and kill all of them. Once again, trying to dodge as much flak as possible and just gain the reset on this guy. Which you do, once again, 11k, very solid damage. And it's penetration damage and some Citadel damage, so it's harder for him to heal. And once again, just going back to this Petro, we're getting a pre-drop off because he might have defensive AA on top of that Montana is right behind him. While Montana AA is not the beast that it used to be, it isn't a joke either. So as we see in the west, the Holland is capped A, and they've capped B. So right now, we're playing from behind, and we really need to get this kill for the points, and so we can exert cap pressure. Managed to get the sits and the kill, and we are somewhat back in this game. We're up on points right now, but they do have an HP advantage, and they have a cap advantage, so it's only a matter of time before they overtake us. I fly through some invisible fighters here, which are very annoying, but it's part of the game. And we're going for this Montana. At this point, the Montana is the focus. He's the closest target. He's by himself. And if we can get this Montana out, even though he's full health, with the help of the Holland and Stalingrad, we're going to be able to take this B cap. I immediately recall, and I'm going back. So here we have rockets, not the best choice. So I'm just like, hey, I still have AP bombs. That was a mistake on my part in not recognizing what I had. I thought I had less AP bombs, but that's what we're going with now. On the other side of the map, they still have A. There's no way we can push it. They're just trying to survive and take up their attention in the west. And Spankly Bits gets a kill on Coop, so now we are in some serious trouble. We're down on ships, we're down on HP, we need this cap, and we need the Montana gone. Drop pops the fighter, so I speed boost through it, just to try to get off a drop. Not the best drop angle, but we still managed to get 2 sits. Every bit of damage helps. So at this point, we're coming back with Torps. Montana's taking some pressure from the Holland and the Stalingrad, and I'm just trying to get a spot to figure out where exactly they are. Additionally, I decided, hey, I really need to start getting my CV's HP into the game. Let's start moving up also for quicker strikes. Typically against a better team like this, I'm more conservative with my CV position early on, but once they start getting whittled away, we got to do something. Once again, just trying to spot here and figure out if there's a low health target that I can go after. Everett and Fei are low. It's a bad angle, but I don't want to go into too much Goliath AA, but I figure if I can get some more damage on the Henri, maybe our team could take him out. And we continue advancing with our CV, and we're going for another strike. The Richthofen's armor profile is pretty solid. As long as you're not broadside, you're not going to take massive hits. And if the enemy team is shooting at you and you don't die, it's damage your team isn't taking. You have to throw your CV into the game when needed late game. At this point, we're actually slightly up on HP, but the Richthofen is also moving into position, and we still need to get this Montana out because they have overtaken us on points and we are down to shit. Also, the Holland has come back at this point, so it's going to make striking this Montana very hard. In the west, we only have our Venezia and Ohio left. Holland takes a torp, very big stuff. But in the west, we only have Venezia and Ohio left. Once again, there's no way they're pushing. But if they can get a kill, that'll be helpful. I'm coming back here with AP rockets just because at this point I'm low on planes. I gotta cycle what I have, and every little bit of damage helps, especially if I'm able to get a spot on this Holland, or I'm able to take him out with rockets. The AP rockets, if you play your cards right, you can still get 5 or 6k damage. It isn't ideal, but we're going to try to get some anyway. We're unable to see the Holland, so we're just going to try to get some more chip damage on the Montana, and we do get the spot coming out of it. So I drop the fighter. It's not going to last very long, but if it's enough for our team to lock on to the Holland and get shots on him, it's worth it. And at this point, once again, about even on HP, but down on ships and down on points, so we have to make this work. Montana still looking relatively healthy, and he has CBA right on top of him, but we have to make this happen, and we get off a bomb. But we don't hit. Actually, I don't even know if we got a bomb. But I'm also moving my CV up for some secondary support, as well as A support. Right now, Ohio and Venezia in the west aren't going to be able to do anything. I slow my CV's advance a little bit to try to be a little bit more conservative and be ready to cut in. And so what I'm doing here is I know my CV should be entering secondary range soon with the Montana, so I'm really just hoping for a flood here that he damage controls. I also know that torps will be coming soon from the Holland, so if he can get a perma flood after he repairs this flood, it'll be great. I go through, I'm jamming on that speed boost, and I'm doing a little bit of a longer drop because he's moving slowly, and I didn't have a heal up at the time, so I need to drop earlier to get off all 3 torps. Our Stalingrad goes down, but the important part is I get that flood on the Montana, and he damage controls. I click my secondaries on the Montana. No, I do not have manual secondaries, but that way, if there's the Richthofen up or the Montana up within range, that's who I'm going after. I'm also manualing my CV at this point. Never, ever, ever trust autopilot in these sort of positions. Autopilot will do all sorts of weird things, make you go backwards or run into an island. I'm angling my Richthofen so I can get secondaries on him, and so I can cut in between these islands and not go broadside. So I'm hoping to hopefully get a fire on this guy because I don't have many planes left, and then cut in and not take too much damage and get some follow-up on the Richthofen Holland. I managed to get the permafire, which is very big. Additionally, Cowboy Lance torps here and gets permafloods. So my permafire, the torp damage, and the permafloods are enough to take this guy out. This is why I run the fire flags on the Richthofen for things like this. Not only that, Storm Mount in the west somehow manages to kill the Stalingrad. So now we're in a much better position. Because we pushed this off flank on the off cap, we were able to get B, and now their Richthofen is in trouble. But all we have to do here is survive. The Holland is still out there, which is why I dropped the fighters in case he comes back that way. And right now we just have to get the CV out, if at all possible, with torps and secondaries. More importantly, however, is I hear their Goliath is low, and so that's who I'm going after. AP Rocket's not the best damage dealer against the Goliath, but when they're low like this and they burn through all their heals late game, every little bit of damage helps. Additionally, my CP is relatively healthy. I'm just trying to throw it in here so they're focusing me, and hopefully I can take some damage because at this point our Ohio is very low and he can't really afford to take that many hits. As you can see from the Goliath and Honorary firing, they're very focused on him. Given that, I'm going to turn around so I'm not getting torped by any of their ships. A minute until we cap, but I have to go into the assumption of the Ohio is going to die. Push all the way through here just to get one torp. Luckily, Cowboy spots and kills the Holland, so at this point it's just a matter of waiting it out. So, all told, we made some mistakes this game. We probably should have lost, but it's more of an illustration of don't be afraid to put your CV in a forward position late game. There's not as many ships that can shoot you. Your secondaries might do something, maybe, if RNG is on your side, but more importantly, any potential damage you're taking, and as long as you don't die, is potential damage that your team isn't taking, and it's keeping them in the game. And especially is going to work against teams that aren't as great, that as soon as they see the CV, they're like, ooh, CV, shoot. Alright, that's the video. Let me know if you guys have any questions.